Hello everyone, welcome back to Famous or Known. This time around, I'm taking you straight to Nigeria. In Nigeria, a man who has poisoned his 3 children after his pastor claimed they were witches. Only one survived. He has poisoned his 3 children, claiming that his pastor told him that these kids or his children are witches and wizards, and only one survived.
Bound in cuffs, 42-year-old Samuel Otasi and a relation were at the police divisional headquarters, Igbogeni, where he was detained for poisoning 3 of his sons after a prophecy that they were wizards.
Judge Odogo made a pronouncement in the church that I have some children and I'm not marrying the mother again. The mother have bewitched all my children to tarnish their life and to tarnish my family's life. That a owner of his son children will buy a snapper and poison them and kill them. I've not seen, and I cannot be among that.
Otasi is accused of forcing the content of an insecticide called Sniper down the throats of his sons, aged 10, 12, and 14. But the elders miraculously survived the lethal dose of the liquid.
My father bring a roof from his pocket and give to Levi. And Levi and I tie me and my brothers down and give us the snapper to drink. I use my head and my legs to crawl out from the bush and now managed to escape.
When he came, the hands were swollen and there were marks showing that had been tied for a while, both on the hands and then the legs. So we began to treat him, ran some tests, began to treat him. In the evening, he got a bit conscious. He could talk, could call the name of his village. So he now told us what happened, that the father took them, said they were going to a church, and then along the line, he stopped, asked the bus to stop, and they went into a bush. When they got there, with one other man, I think his uncle or so, he tied all of them and forced them to drink Sniper.
He was eventually brought to the police station here. When he had recovered a little, he now told us that 2 other of his siblings are still in the bush. By the time we got there, unfortunately, those 2 had already given up the ghost.
The Commissioner of Police, Bayelsa State, and officers of the command visited the crime scene where the wooden crates used to convey the bodies of the 2 boys were shown to journalists.
This is the scene where the whole incident took place. And the rescue. This is exactly where the rescue took place also. Parents must be wary. Even if they have personal problems with themselves as spouses, it must not go to the children. Now these 2 children now have been lost forever. And this one is just managing to survive. That shouldn't be the case.
Back in detention, the police says Samuel Otasi will have his day in court. 2 grandsons dead, 1 in hospital and her son in detention. Mother of the suspect breaks down in tears. Ofieteme George, TVC News, Yenagoa, Bayelsa State.
How can you tell me this? How can you tell me this? So it is true that lack of knowledge, people perish. How can you believe your pastor over this? This is stupidity. Yes, they will come and prophesy that God told them. They know God didn't tell them anything. I keep saying that God doesn't call anybody to become a pastor, a prophet, or whatever. They call themselves. A pastor telling you that your kids are witches, so go and kill them, and you have poisoned them. Really? And you believe the pastor, and you have poisoned your kids. Me sitting here as a construction worker. Are you going to tell me that God told me to become a construction worker? No, I chose to become a construction worker. It's like somebody who want to be a doctor or a nurse. They will go to school to become a doctor and a nurse. People do go to pastoral schools, right? Yes, they do. So how the hell are you going to tell me that God called you to become a pastor or a prophet? It's in the Bible that God doesn't call anybody to become a pastor or a prophet. It's in the Bible. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. 1 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. And it says, here is a trustworthy saying, whoever aspires to be overseer desires a noble task. Whoever aspires to be overseer, okay, overseer, desires a noble task. That means it's your free will to become an overseer. Overseer, who are the overseers? The pastors. They oversee the church. They oversee the church. So if it's in you, or you're willing to become, or whatever, or if you want to, that's pretty much what it means. If you aspire, if you want to become an overseer, you desire a noble task, which if you go down, it's like it's talking about church leadership. So if you want to become a leader at the church, it doesn't say when God chooses you to become a leader of the church. It says if you aspire. So that means God doesn't call anybody to become a preacher or a pastor or a prophet. It's you that want to become. So this guy here that has poisoned his 3 kids because of what the pastor told him. Look at the guy's face. Like, how can you sit there for somebody to tell you this?
Detained for poisoning 3 of his sons after a prophecy that they were wizards.
George Odogo made a pronouncement in the church that I have some children and I'm not marrying the mother again. The mother have bewitched all my children to tarnish their life and to tarnish my family's life. That a owner of his son children will buy a snapper and poison them and kill them.
And you poison your kids? Imagine me sitting here and a pastor calls me or tells me that, you know what, your mother is a witch. Tells me that my mother is a witch. My mother, who has been taking care of me since day one, she's a witch. Now that I'm able to take care of my mom, you're going to tell me that she's a witch? If you're on the altar, I'll come to the altar. You all understand what I'm saying? Oh, Mike, no. Me be shoot him say quick. Me radia. Me, you telling me that my mom is a witch? That will be the day. I think God will descend from the heavens and come and stop me. You crazy? And you believe this? And you have poisoned your kids over hi Christians, I don't know. I don't know what Christians want. I keep saying religion is a distraction of this earth. Religion. Instead of us living harmoniously, become one. Love thy neighbor as thyself. No. I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm Hindu, I'm Judaism, I'm Shintoism. That's why we have a lot of atheists. They don't believe in anything, because if you were to think about it, some of them you'd be like, what is this? What is this? How can you tell me this? And only one survived. You have unalived 2 and 1 survived.
My father bring a roof from his pocket and give to Levi. And Levi now tie me and my brothers down and give all the snapper to drink. I use my head and my legs to crawl out from the bush and now managed to escape.
That kid ended up running away. So if they're giving the dad 25 years, okay? If they're giving him 25 years, the pastor, they should give him minimum 1,000 years. Minimum. What? Where God come to these kind of people and talk to them. I wonder that God will come to them and then talk to them. And why will God tell this guy this? Why? How come God didn't go tell them the man himself? If you talk about these things, somebody will sit there and be like, you lack spiritual understanding. Yeah, they will say you lack spiritual understanding. Because I live in the carnal world and you tell me I lack spiritual understanding. I'm living in reality. I'm not a spirit. I'm seeing about spiritual world. Only when they can explain, that's when they will be like, you need spiritual understanding. Me. I don't think any pastor will call me and be like, your family member is this. That will be the day. That will be the day. Me show papa. Me butu no nyankopon ni nyina kwa kwada baby. Be catch them say if my kids or my siblings or my mom, my dad, my auntie, my uncle, my grandpa, brother, from that day I don't think that preacher will even preach again in their life. Will never preach. Me, as soon as I come straight to you, right there and there, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you right there and there. about saying, oh, this guy is your family member is back in the days. You see, they were beating up all these grown up because when people age, when you age, you lose your memory. Okay, certain things they don't even remember, and all these little sicknesses. But those fetish priests back then will be beating up people's grandparents and say they're witches, they're this, they're that, and they'll be. Hope it doesn't happen to me. But this pastor here, the church, they need to deal with the church. If he has a church, and he should be going to prison forever. I don't like talking like this, but it's annoying. They need to stop. They need to put an end to these kind of things. They will come and give fake prophecies, false hopes. I think I'm getting pissed off, so I'll be talking too much. You know what? Let's end it here. So if today is your first time, please kindly subscribe to the channel, like and also share my videos. And don't forget to leave your comment at the comment section. Let me know what you think about this video. And until we meet again, I'm your host, Shaolin, the Casa Harrises. I'm out.